So what do you think, even with bigger films coming in, what do you think the importance of, just having creative outlets and doing personal projects for the creative and film types?
Oh yeah, I mean, it is always great to have the commercial films come in, but I think there are so many people here locally who are doing a lot of their own creative projects. Just this past week, I was at the Cleveland International Film Festival and going to the local shorts program was just. That's always like one of those eye-opener things where there are a lot of talented people here, and when you get to finally see what some of the people are doing right now, it's amazing, And I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of also great ones that weren't selected. So, I mean, for me, I think. Working on those kind of is like the Zen kind of thing. So like, I mean, personally, I've been working on this documentary about a local filmmaker named Robert Banks. He is a underground filmmaker. He's been around for a long time, and he's been working on one singular film for the last 10 years. So he shot it for about 4.5. And he's been in this editing process because he's insistent on finishing it on 35. So we've been filming him getting the post done, and it's not easy because a lot of times he's doing it with not a lot of money. I always, when trying to explain to people like what is his situation sometimes, there was one time when we were filming and he asked me to grab a water from the refrigerator. Opened it up, there was water, but then there was just cans of film, like no food, What is it? And so I was like, Robert, where's your food? He was just like, well, hey, there was a sale on Kodak on eBay, and I had to get it now, or I'm not going to get it then. So it's one of those things. Like I'm just inspired by his passion for it, and that's why I've decided to, pursue this. And it's something that I started shooting in 2017, so it's been a minute, but I think it's going to be worth it once it's all said and done, just because we've amassed so much footage, and I think it really gives a whole picture of what even if there's not a lot of money in it, having a project and a passion and a goal is something so important.
Yeah.
Robert Banks I think a lot of Cleveland filmmakers meet him like throughout the years.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of film students do. To this day, I think I've met him a lot when I was in school here, but he wishes me a happy birthday every year. And so he's also like a great guy on top of everything. So
absolutely.
That's what's really cool. He's kind of a local legend. He's kind of a myth.
Yeah.
Especially now with the 35.
Well, speaking of Cleveland State, he has a couple different Cleveland State students who have been helping him on this finish this 35 project. And he has a real knack, I think, of finding these students who, they understand that digital right now is like the main format, but there are some of these like old soul types who tend to be drawn to Robert, and I've gotten to know some of them pretty well. And it's just, I love to see him teaching this new generation to have an appreciation for celluloid, and that I think is going to be his legacy.
Do you think that? It's going to be interesting to see how his film alone turns out. But for like students and people who are making those short films that are going to Cleveland State Film Festival, is it best to go to like your local film festival, or should you try to get a premiere at like a different festival, get invited? Really quickly, I met a guy from Germany at the film festival. He had made a short film. He flew himself over here just because he said, I have a movie playing somewhere. I want to be there so I can talk about it. Great young guy, got his butt over here, and just when I met him, he was just standing in the middle of the room eating a slice of pizza by himself. And I just walked over to him and just like raised my beer, and he raised his beer. We clinked him and was like, "Where are you from?" Would you recommend that to people who have short films or projects to it's great to have your home base festival, but
Yeah.
movies can travel you.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I think getting it out there as much as possible. And sometimes obviously those submission fees those are going to be killer, but if you have the independent wealth to do so, or maybe you have some nice parents or grandparents who maybe instead of a holiday gift, you just say, hey, can I get some submission money? But I mean, here's I think just the best example. This past week, I was in charge of the theaters that had the short jury programs.
Sure, yeah.
The juror or one of the jurors who was in town won an Oscar for a movie called Period, End of Sentence. It's a short doc, very beautiful if anybody has a chance to see it. But she tried a bunch of festivals. The first one that selected it was Cleveland.
Wow.
And she won, and then that put her in consideration for the Oscar, and she won the Oscar.
Wow.
So that talk
Pay
about
attention
going
to
from
your qualifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Going from
Good.
zero to everything.
Nice.